and welcome back. I'm Danicia Christensen, your host of You Know How This Ends, the podcast where every time you listen to it, you are reminded of who you are, whose you are, and the fact that the only thing that you have to do to have all your goals and dreams and desires come to you is to not give up. Take breaks when you need them, shift, align, be consistent, and keep going. What you want wants you back. And you are a daughter or a son of a God who has promised to give you everything that they have and more. It is inevitable. It is already yours. Your job is just to trust the journey and enjoy the process. I'm Danicia Christensen, and I'm so excited to dive into today a little bit more of the concept of the be, do, have, and the whole idea, principle behind receive. So I feel like one of the things that comes up for me over and over and over is a reminder to receive. The phrase, the idea, the thought that keeps coming in is there's nothing you need to do, just receive, just receive. I set the intention. So the time of this recording, we're in Scorpio season. If you follow along with astrology and the zodiac wheel, I do. I love it. I believe that God speaks to us through the stars, and that it's another opportunity, another way for us to have clarity and alignment. And at the time of this being aired, it will be the week of Thanksgiving, which will be Sagittarius season. So we're a little bit different energy, but whole point is that whenever you're listening to this, I was really feeling drawn to the Scorpio season. Scorpio is all about going deep. It's very much leadership and charisma. It's talking about the things that nobody wants to talk about, but being brave enough to talk about them and address them. And I'm feeling called to go even deeper than I already have been and make some shifts and make some changes in my life and start talking more clearly and concisely and openly about those deep things that nobody wants to talk about. And so I set some intentions of being open and willing to go deeper than I ever had before. I set those intentions on a Monday. On Tuesday, my lower back went out on me. And I was in bed Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday, I was starting feeling good enough to get up and be moving around. Friday, I was mostly okay. It's been interesting. Those of you that have known me for a while and have followed my journey, I used to have a lot of lower back problems. If you go back and listen to my first couple of episodes here, I talk a lot about those lower back problems and realizing that it had to do with feeling unsupported. It had to do with feeling unsupported, especially financially, had to do with issues around my own body and appreciation and my body supporting me, as well as issues around sexual energy. Now, I've done a ton of healing, and your mess is your message. And so I've talked a lot about that on here. And my back haven't had any problems with it for probably a good year or two now. And kind of thought I was over that, right? But there's a bunch of different things happening, and I set those intentions to go deep. And here we are back to where we used to be with my back having problems, right? And so it opened and offered an opportunity to go deeper and to explore back into that, to see what was still there, where I was still hanging on to worries and fears around money not being there to support me, not loving and trusting my body, and my relationship with my sexuality. And one of the things that kept coming in as I was, in bed for several days and still doing some of the things that needed to be done, but taking more time to just rest and recuperate, and the phrase kept coming in, there's nothing you need to do, just receive. There's nothing you need to do, just receive. And I get that. Like, I've worked very diligently and put in a lot of effort on learning, letting go of the need to do and to have actions and lists, crossing off lists, right, to prove my worth. I'm really, really good at self-care, really good at self-love. I'm pretty good at managing my time and having a good balance between fun and pleasure and work. And I love my work, and so that's pleasurable as well. And so I'm very, very intentional about how I live my life, and we can always do better, right? And so this phrase, like, there's nothing you need to do, you just receive. There's nothing you need to do, just receive. And every time I hear it, I'm like, yes, I love it. I have learned to become the magnet. I have become magnetic, and the people and the opportunities have come to me. And I'm not saying this in a way of like, I'm so cool and I'm better than everyone else. Everybody can learn to do this. And in fact, I'm going to be teaching and training exactly on how to do that in the future. So stay tuned for that. And so this idea of just receive, I'm like, okay, I am Like I'm doing that, right? I'm receiving. But when it comes to there's nothing you need to do, I was like, I beg your pardon. There is a list a mile long of all the things that need to be done, and I don't get to half of them, right? Like it says continual balance of be and of do and all this back and forth. And this morning I was doing some studying, and all of a sudden I feel like this piece came in more clearly than I'd ever felt it and received it before. And that was the reminder that to receive is an action. Receive is an action, it's a verb. And what immediately came to my mind, most of you know, and I've talked openly about how I am a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And when new people join our church, or when a young child gets baptized to become an official member of the church at age 8, we do a baptism, a baptism by immersion, and then a laying on of hands to receive the gift of the Holy Ghost. And the phrase that is used in the prayer of receiving the Holy Ghost is there's several things, but then says that it commands that person or invites that person to receive the Holy Ghost. And when you hear someone, in all these different talks and insight and teaching that I've heard about this receiving the Holy Ghost, there's a reminder that it's an action. It's not an automatic assumption that the Holy Ghost is now going to be with you all the time. You have to be worthy. You have to desire the companionship of the Holy Ghost. You have to be intentional about the way that you're spending your time and your energy. You have to put forth effort to be in a position to receive the Holy Ghost and have the power of the Holy Ghost with you. And that reminder that receive is an action, it's a verb. And all of a sudden, I was laying there in bed this morning, pondering and writing and doing my journaling. And all of a sudden, I realized, oh my goodness, receive is an action. It is a verb. So when I am being told there's nothing you need to do, just receive, there's an action. It's not just lay around. It's not just lay in bed and do nothing. That's not receiving. Receiving is doing something with what you've been given. And as I was talking about this with Mackenzie, who you all know now from our cellulite and stillness episode, my youngest sister and my assistant coach, there are action verbs and there are being verbs. How interesting is that? That's a whole nother topic to dive into, right? But kind of what came in for me is if we go with this analogy that you know I love of the be, do, have, the being is the most important part, right? Being in alignment, becoming the magnet, getting education, getting greater light and knowledge, understanding, setting intentions, being in the right vibration. That is all of the work of the be. It's being in a position to receive the opportunities, the clients, the money, the relationships, the outcomes that you desire, right? But that first step of being is by far the most important, right? That's the most impactful, because if you're not in the right state of being, if you're not in alignment, if you're not in the right vibration, you actually cannot receive the opportunities that come to you. It'd be like sitting at a table waiting for a server to bring you your order, and they just keep bypassing you, right? Because it's not the right order. And you see a server coming out of the kitchen, you're like, oh, here it is. This is my meal. I know. And then they go right past you and take it to someone else. And you're like, ah, dang it. Come on. What's the matter? Right? You have to have ordered what you want and then be in the vibration for it to come, be in a position for it to come. So the B is the alignment, the education, the mindset, the knowledge, the awareness of your body, connection with your body, living in alignment with your body. It's the thoughts, bringing the subconscious conscious and being aware of how you're thinking, your mindset. That's the B, right? That's the B. The do is the action that is required into or in response to what comes. Let me say that again. The do part of the be do have is the action required in response to what comes, the action of receiving. If I have, for example, a real estate opportunity come to me, which many do, if I have that real estate opportunity come to me, it does me no good if I don't take the actions to analyze the deal, run my numbers, visit the property, have an inspection, inform potential lenders and equity partners. It does me no good if I don't do something with that opportunity when it comes. And that's the receiving. It's this give and take process, right, of receiving the opportunity, doing something with it, taking the action required to bring it to full fruition, which is that outcome of the have. So that whole be, do, have can really be summarized in the word, the way that I see it anyway, of receive. Receive is receiving the opportunity, doing something with it, and having the end result, which is a natural byproduct of the whole process, right? Now, the other piece is that I don't have to say yes to every opportunity that comes to me. I am the magnet. I receive all sorts of opportunities, right? That magnet will magnetize everything that's out there that's in high vibration and high alignment that matches my vibration and my energy. But I don't have to say yes to everything. If I am feeling overwhelmed, if I am wanting more time to rest, if I am have my energy focused on another area, and I get offered 10 potential real estate deals, all of which are good opportunities, I don't have to say yes to all 10. I can say yes to 5 or 2 or none. Or I can say yes to all 10. And then the action, then the receiving comes in doing the work required to bring them all to fruition. The actual, like what I just said, analyzing the deal, running the numbers, talking to partners, doing the rehab on it, relisting it. It's like all those different pieces, right? So that is the action. That is the do part of the receive, is actually doing the things that need to be done for it to come to place. But you don't have to do everything. Well, let me back that up. You don't have to say yes to every opportunity that comes. You only get to choose the ones that you want to. And number two, I don't have to do all the work on them. I can hire it out. For example, I am not going over on any of our properties and doing the rehab. I'm not putting on flooring. I'm not laying carpet. I am not painting. I am not scrubbing toilets. I'm not doing any of that work. I'm hiring someone to come in and do that, right? I could train someone to run numbers for me. I could train someone to talk to equity partners for me. But for now, those are pieces of the action of the do that I am doing myself. Is this making sense? I would love to hear back from you. Like what ahas, what pieces that you are having as they're coming in. And there's still, oh, like I feel like I've just like uncovered this like next deepest layer, and I'm excited to go even deeper and receive even more clarity and more understanding and really continue to experiment with what this looks like in all of our lives. And, with it being the week of Thanksgiving, if this is when you're listening to it after it's just been released, so much of the part of being, that be part, the receiving, the being, the vibrational alignment is living in a state of gratitude, having so much love and gratitude and appreciation for your life. For me, that's really when things started to shift, is when I consciously chose to start focusing more on the positive, on the good, and start being grateful for my life right here, right now. When I had little kids, when the kitchen was messy, when we didn't have the money, when my business was just taking off, being so, so, so grateful. And I was just talking about this with one of my business partners, Maylee Nilsson, in our Creating Her Empire business. And she was reminding of the analogy of it just depends on what lens you're looking through, right? And at any moment, you can choose to look through a different lens. So if we take this last week of me feeling overwhelmed and all this stuff going on, my back going out on me and everything, I could look at that in just the state of like where I was currently looking at, right? Of feeling overwhelmed and having all this stuff happen. I also could look at it from a state of gratitude, just shifting that lens and saying, wow, how I'm feeling overwhelmed because I'm analyzing 5 different properties at the same time. What if instead I focus on being grateful that I am in 5 deals, 5 properties that I'm analyzing and running numbers on and bringing in the equity partners and funding them and all that. What a blessing. This was something that one day I only dreamed of. And I never dreamed that it would be happening as soon as it is happening, but it is right here, right now. We went from having no money and being in debt and having 0 real estate properties to now by the end of the year, we'll be in 12 deals. We closed on one yesterday, acquiring it. Now we'll begin the rehab. And the wholesaler that brought me that one, the colleague, he said, I have another property for you that I think will be perfect that you want as well. And we went and looked at it today, and it's a deal. So now we're in another deal. Like, this is literally what happens when you become the magnet, when you live in that state of gratitude, when you are open, when you say yes to opportunities that come to you. And that's a big piece as well that you hear me talk about often, right? Is being brave enough to say yes. So many of the men and women that I'm working with in the real estate business, teaching other people how to get started in the real estate investing, teaching other people how to change their lives and up level, they're scared. I was just talking with a client this morning and she said, I'm really scared. This sounds really good and it feels right. And I am really scared. And I said, I would be worried about you if you weren't, because it's a big change. But really, the thought for her, and we were able to clarify this, the thought of staying stuck where they were at in their financial situation where they were was scarier and more overwhelming than the thought of moving into new actions, new decisions, and creating new patterns. And that's really when change occurs is when we become more uncomfortable staying where we're at than the uncomfortableness of moving into the next phase. And as you're progressing, as you're growing, guess what? Feeling overwhelmed is a natural part of the process. It's a natural part of your progression because if you already knew how to do it and were already doing it, then you would already be doing it. And so as you move into a new space, a new stage, a new pattern, a new way of being, of thinking, of receiving, that's going to feel uncomfortable for a while. And there's going to be shifts and there's going to be changes and new patterns and new alignment and all the things. And the more, again, that we can shift our lens and instead of being like, oh, like I'm so overwhelmed, like what's going on? Just going, oh, this is all part of the process. This is exactly how it's supposed to go. And I'm so grateful. I'd rather have the problem of figuring out how to make these 5 deals work than the problem of not having any money and not having any real estate deals. Pick your hard, right? And I hate like that. I hate the idea of that life is hard, but like whatever you're going to do, there's going to have challenges and you're going to have opportunities for growth and progression. So what kind of challenges do you want? Do you want the challenges of no money and no clients and a boring life? Or do you want the challenge of lots of resources and having to allocate them and maybe having to hire a tax strategist and a lawyer to help you get all of that organized and figured out? Would you rather have the problem of, no money to go out and do anything, or the problem of having to decide between, a cruise to Jamaica or a cruise to Alaska? Like, I know that's silly, but when you live in this state of gratitude and when you trust the process and when you recognize that wherever you are is exactly where you're meant to be and it's a part of the journey, then all of a sudden there's not really any problem at all. And when you live in that state of trust, that state of gratitude, that state of progression, that state of knowing that everything you want, that's why I call this, you know how this ends, right? Because I know where this ends. And whatever the path looks like, however rocky or crazy or exciting or whatever it looks like, I know where we're going. I know where we end up. You know where you're going. You know where you end up. Trust the process and learn how to receive. Learn to be in alignment. So, what are some things that you can do to be in alignment? Let's talk about that for a second. Some of my favorites are getting enough sleep, bubble baths, time to walk outside in nature, intimacy with my spouse, time together as a family, really good high vibe food, also really yummy sweet treats. I mean, there's a million different things that I love to do that help me to be in high alignment and help me to love my body, love my life, love my experiences, right? What are yours? Make a list. If there's something on my list that I just gave you that you're like, yes, I love that. Make a list, add that on, and then start thinking, what else? What do I love to do? What brings me joy? And being intentional about the way that you're living. So that helps you to be in alignment, be in that vibration, and then just start noticing what in your life are you grateful for, down to the smallest things. On almost daily basis, I have a practice of starting my morning with expressing gratitude. And it's the smallest things from deep, restful sleep to my cute, fluffy puppy to being able to walk outside, to my family, to looking out my window and seeing green grass or the crunchy falling leaves. Like the more you can just be in that state of gratitude and acceptance and trust and love, literally, I call it romanticizing your life, falling in love with your life exactly where it is right now. Oh, so blessed, so grateful. I love this, I love that, all the different pieces. And then treating the people that you are around with that love, a big hug to your children or to your spouse, expressing how much gratitude, how grateful you are for them, pointing out all the things that you love about them. I actually had a colleague point out the other day. She said that her husband kept saying, "You don't listen, you're not listening, you're not listening." And she finally told him, "Hey, if you want me to be a better listener, don't keep telling me all the ways that I'm not a good listener. Point out when I am and how much you appreciate it when I am." And I was like, I that's such a beautiful example, right? And so when your children or your spouse or your colleagues or your coworkers or your parents or whoever, when they're doing things that you love and that you appreciate, pointing those out. Oh, I love how you open the door for me. Thank you so much. That means so much to me. I love how you put your plate in the sink. Wow. I love how, you tidied up the restroom after you finish using it. Thank you so much. That makes it so enjoyable for me to go into a nice, clean restroom. The smallest things to the biggest things. And it might feel weird at first if that's not your norm. People might be like, okay, crazy. Guess what? People think that I'm crazy, and I'm 100% okay with that because this life, this magical, miraculous life that I live, it does look crazy on the outside to some people. It looks crazy. The people who have these beautiful, amazing lives, they're most of the time not just regular people. They're people who are willing to do something different, who are willing to look different, think different, have different patterns, not just be stuck in the same old ways that they've been raised with or that society wants us to believe. So being in that state of gratitude and pointing out and expressing everything that you're grateful for, what you focus on, you'll get more of. So if you're focusing on the things that you love, guess what? You'll have more things to love in your life. Isn't that amazing? And you'll have more opportunities to receive and put into action those beautiful, beautiful opportunities and resources and clients and deals and all the things. So am I perfect at this? 100% no. I'm actually doing something later coming up soon that is probably not in highest alignment for me, but I'm choosing to do it anyway just because I am, because I wanted to support this person, even though it doesn't bring me a ton of joy in that. So we get to intentionally choose. We get to choose our lives. We get to choose how we react. We get to choose our circumstances. We get to choose how we respond. And the only thing that's ever wrong is how we think it should be. So we think it should be something different. So if I am just accepting of this experience that I'm going to be having later, coming up in a few weeks here, if I'm just accepting of that and just trust that and enjoy being with the people that I'm with and the experience that it is, and look for how I can learn from it and what it's teaching me, there's never anything wrong. And along with that, the more that we can live in alignment, doing the things that bring us joy and light us up, the more we're going to be blessed and the more opportunities for more that brings us joy and lights us up will come. I feel like I've been saying the same thing over and over and over, and I hope it's sinking in and that you're getting it one way or another, that it's starting to come in. If you need some help figuring out, how do I do this? What does this look like? Please reach out to me. My new program coming out is going to be teaching and training on exactly how to do this, how to become the magnet, how to receive, how to really put that practice of be, do, have into play in your life. I love you. So excited for you. If you're watching this at the time of Thanksgiving or listening to this at Thanksgiving time, happy Thanksgiving. I am grateful for you. I'm grateful for you listening. I'm grateful to be on here and be able to share my thoughts and my feelings with you and to bless your life as you are blessing mine, and as even just being able to share this is blessing mine because it brings me joy. Love you so much. You know how this ends. Bye.